Isn't the internet fun? It's the greatest unforeseen consequence of all the unforeseen consequences. Do you remember those days back in Tahrir Square, when all of those people looking for justice and fairness used Twitter to congregate and to effect change? What days they were, a high watermark of dignity for the internet. We truly thought that a new technology had reached maturity. Then, nothing changed. The facile and hostile just gubbed some steroids and hit the gym. Coke and Starbucks and the grotty, cum-encrusted denizens of 4chan and the patchouli crooks of Goop all got down to unlocking the true purpose of the internet, to make some real money. Alex Jones and Deepak Chopra know this, and the endless purveyors of disposable tat know this. Fund a pro-life organisation or print a rainbow on your cups, and you can treat your staff like serfs and pay no taxes whatsoever, because the internet has made the superficial a virtue. You can know everything you want to know about anyone by the 3 lines of their Twitter bio, and you can tell the rest of the world how wonderful you are by vilifying them in public. All the while, boxes of cash are being dumped in the Cayman Islands, and inner city children don't have school books, but hey, I got 28 likes on that last tweet. The immature dreams of a global community were flung aside to foster division and hatred, and thereby flog fake dietary supplements, futile home security systems, and plushy Pokemon Pikachu hats. Society collectively winced at a potential future of genuine discussion and mutual empathy, and realised that what they wanted to do was pretend to care, while using the internet for its divinely ordained purpose, and that is to buy, because we are all just holes that can only be filled with things, and future generations can go hang themselves because I need it now. Today, I'm talking about reviews. I'm talking about marketing. And I'm talking about the difference between the two. I'm talking about the virtues of both. And I'm talking about opposition. Because I believe that these two forms of expression are opposed to one another. And when that opposition starts to be blurred, well, then people start to be lied to. And they start to lie to themselves. There is a line. And you can cross that line. But the line should remain, and reviews should never be conceived as marketing tools. They may result in being so, but that should be an unintended consequence. I'm also going to talk about, and I appreciate that I may be vastly underqualified here, about responsibility. And if you think I should shut my mouth on that topic, well, I have a comment section below, and you have a word processor and a brain. I welcome the conversation. Before I enter into the substance of this piece, please allow me to lead you through the endless cul-de-sacs of my brain. I want to offer some context to what will follow, but also to indulge myself in some public self-reflection. There's no one in my real life that would listen to me, so I hope that some of you will in my binary one. Consider your indulgence at the next couple of minutes as an act of charity. Consider it your good deed for the day, if that's still a thing. I started writing properly at the age of 32. In those 10 years, I've produced over 500,000 words of prose, about 1,000 of poetry. I've written the lyrics to a handful of songs, and one screenplay that was actually made, and I was dreadful in. I harboured dreams of supporting my life with words. After 10 years, that has failed to happen, but that wasn't the only reason that I started writing. Writing, for me, is an act of chronicling. It's a way of telling the story of my life through fiction and fact. Not through the slavish retelling of the amorphous nothing that is the day-to-day existence of an abject failure, no. But as colour, as emotion, as feeling. It is my hope that every time I sit at a table to write, that my current mood infect the sentences. My petty victories and failures inform the choices of my words. My heartbreak and happiness flow from my fingers and create life in the lifeless screen of my computer. I've had a lot to pass in the decades since I started to write with any kind of regularity. I've had to process death and love. I've had to hold hands with aging and obsolescence. All of this is held in an arc of memory. That's my writing. All of my monotonous despair and cesium flash joy blasted from my gut to a computer screen, and sometimes to a camera, sometimes to a microphone, sometimes condemned to dwell on a hard drive, unloved and unread by no one other than its creator. Like anything that anyone does a lot of, I don't just do it to self-aggrandize. It's the simple fact that I enjoy it a great deal. I try to write something every day. I don't always succeed, but I try. Writing, you see, is capricious. It can be a flood or a trickle, but it's always useful. I never regret sitting down to write, and I often regret not. I've written since I was a child, and it's always grounded me to the world and kept me sane, and I do appreciate that that's a relative term. People are unreliable. Love is all too fleeting, and success is an illusion. Putting a pen onto a piece of paper and creating something where there was previously only void, well, it's life-affirming. It's a demonstration that I'm still alive, I still function. I am here, and though the fact is mostly ignored by everybody most of the time, it's empirically proven in the very words I'm imparting to you now. Writing hasn't saved me. If I'm honest, I think I'm doomed to be forever lost, but it's stopped me from being pulled under. I have formed my grief and heartbreak into sentences. I have sculpted my disappointment into words, and I have forged my panic into stories. What you hear now is me, and it's because I write that you can hear me. Writing pulls me out of bed in the morning, and writing tucks me in at night. Also, it's an interesting note that writing is a wonderful device for self-pitying hyperbole. So with all that out of the way, let's get to the substance of this. As I said, I'm talking about reviews and marketing. It's not really about my reviews, though they will inevitably enter the conversation. It's also about the fact that in the absence of some neutral, greater power that we can rely on, we have to rely on ourselves. This hobby is rushing towards even greater professionalism with every passing day, and yet the talk around games is regressing. It's being subsumed by the marketing machine, and people are justifying this craven betrayal, literally saying it's fine. I told you the internet was loads of fun. I guess we should define our terms here: reviewing and marketing. This is the distinction between having the interests of your readers, listeners, and viewers at the forefront and performing a deceitful illusion, hiding your intentions under your top hat. It's about priorities and honesty, and if those things mean anything to you. No matter how you dress it up, marketing has one simple goal, and that is to make you buy something. There was a time that we knew what was what. There was an honest grift. It's hard to know this now. This is because it's no longer cordoned off into the ad break or the billboard. It is intruded into areas it shouldn't. It's in our movies, it's in our songs, and it's in our reviews. It's become so ubiquitous now that we see blatant manipulation of our fears and joys for money as just another part of the landscape. We write TV series about it, we send our kids to school to study it, and we commend it for its wit and efficacy. We've swallowed it all and become its unwitting proxy. We've become an army of quislings. Marketing, while sometimes necessary, should be in a cage with a neon sign that says, "We may not be being honest, we want your money." We should know if we're being sold to, because anything else is dishonest. I'm going to put it out there. I'm not a great fan of marketing. A big fish swims through the water, and it's orbited by these things called cleaner fish. These smaller fish consume the algae and dead skin from the bigger fish and expel it into the water. That expulsion, well, that's marketing. It's an industry that makes money off the creative strengths of others. It's an industry that will sell you cigarettes. It walks hand in hand with the cable fearmongers, breeding in us a sense of never being good enough, always being a bottle of deodorant or a microplastic crammed exfoliant away from calm. And when that calm doesn't appear, well then buy this thing or this one, and on and on and on. So much can be placed at the feet of marketing. Planned obsolescence? Yes. Waste and excess? Sure. This year's phone that's the same as last year's? The Amazon forest clearance burger and CO2 flavoured water? Marketing has given us all of this. Reviews are a tiny attempt to try and stem the flow of sewage. Reviews are a call for restraint, a purgative that tries to calm the worst symptoms of marketing. Well, at least they should be. Reviews are not there to encourage more consumption. They're there to limit it. Reviews should promote caution, not consumption. Reviews are nowhere near as admirable as the act of creation. But, thank God, they're not marketing. I've spent a lot of time arguing something which seems perfectly self-evident to me. That your review should reflect your real opinion of the game. That is the substance of a review, your honest view of the game. And I can't stress this enough, whether that be positive or negative. This has been somewhat derailed by the talk of paid reviews, and that's clearly a red herring, as why would a company as small as a game company bother when the commentariat is more than willing to perform a bait and switch on their audience for the price of a game? Also, I understand the distinction between a preview and a review. One is marketing and the other is not. And as long as there's a declaration up front, there's no subterfuge and we can all get on with our days. The latest argument is what I want to address here now. It follows thus. I'm not getting paid, so why would I bother to take the time to produce a review for a game I don't like? This is simple, because if you've decided that the reviewing of games is the activity that you want to participate in, well then this goes with the territory. A coda to this argument is the one that says, other industries have a neutral body that pays their reviewers, so they have both the time and the resources to review games they don't like. Like it or not, almost nobody is making money at this lark in board gaming. I would adore to be taken on by a newspaper or magazine and be properly remunerated for my time and effort. I understand the frustration at not being adequately paid for your endeavour. It's inevitable that this project will come to an end at some point, simply because I don't get paid enough to do it. And the thing is, I don't see this work as a hobby, but like it or not, while I continue to produce work that appraises games, my sole obligation is to you. There isn't this magical, beneficial organisation that will pay me to write my bad reviews. We are all we've got, and if we neglect that part of our role, it's the community we profess to love that we're doing a disservice to. It's the very reason you have to appraise games honestly, because you're the only port of call. If you only review games you like, or leave out your misgivings for fear that the review copy faucet will dry up, what will the people who consume your content do? Where can they go to find someone who will counsel caution? You are it. Also, it seems to me that if you find a game terrible, that gives you an even greater impetus to produce a review, to warn people off, to voice your concerns, to serve the community. That is what reviewers are for. Also, the fact that some game designers and publishers are being especially vocal on this point is beneath comment. I also have a question. If producing a review is such a chore, if it's such hard work, then why do you bother? The act of construction, the ability to solidify the amorphous fog of my thoughts into sentences, whether I eulogise or condemn, that piece of work is the reward. It's the 1,000 words that didn't exist before. That is the goal. And I've managed to do that through playing games. Reviewing games is not about the free copies. It's not about the Twitter likes or the downloads. It's about the review. The act of teasing out meaning from a few bits of plastic, cardboard and wood. This is the whole of the thing. And if it isn't for you, well then why do you do it? It's true that it is a grandly solipsistic motivation, but it has the unintended consequence of urging caution, of giving people pause and slowing the consumption, even if it's a little. And with the amount of people who've told me they have no interest in my reviews, well, it certainly is a little. Also, it's fine if you're doing it for the free copies or the press passes, but if you achieve your goals, then do the work and do it honestly. Or stop. Because people do take what you say seriously, and to only speak positively is to participate in marketing. It is to lie by omission, and if you're not willing to do it, then stop. This isn't the gig for you. Just play the game and relieve yourself of the burden of having to drag the reviews out of yourself. It's clearly too much of a chore. Fundamentally, why did I not like this is as much of a challenge to write about as why did I like this? It is the same exercise, it provides the same puzzle, it also rewards you with being honest, which must be some kind of boon for the amateur opinionist. Treat the negative and the positive with equal derision. Your views are to be smacked with mallets, and the ones that stay up are the ones to go with. Be honest, respect the community, and don't, and I can't stress this enough, don't do marketing. This video was made possible by all of you who subscribe, and especially those who back me on Patreon. Please subscribe to the channel, and if you think it's worth anything, well, all the links are below.